Hey, what's going on, friends? Bad Guy Cam here with week 4 of season 6 of the SDF. We are going up against Coach Pez and the Seattle Seakings. They have started off extremely strong this season. They are already 3-0, while we are languishing at 1-2 after having a strong week 1. Last week's battle, definitely a tougher one. Definitely could have done better at my predictions and maybe my prep a little bit as well. Definitely had some scary threats we had to deal with, though. This week, we are coming up against an equally scary team, if not more scary team, so I'm very, very scared. As you can tell, I've said scared probably about 5 times already. But very, very strong team that Pez has put together. Let's take a look at it really quick. Victini, Rillaboom, Primarina, Raikou, Cobalion, Skuntank, Xatu, Palossand, Dredagon, Cryogonal, and Komala. Very, very scary mons here. You got Victini and Rillaboom, which can hit really, really hard on the physical side. Primarina, Raikou, same thing on the special side. You got some really pretty decent walls here with the Palossand, the Dredagon, and those are kind of like the biggest things I can see. There's a lot of general bulk on this team. The Victini, the Rillaboom, the Primarina, all at Raikou even have all very good just natural bulk. So very, very hard to take down. There are some things that are scary to me. I'm gonna keep saying scary and very scary throughout this whole thing because it's a terrifying team to come up against. Victini with the Choice Band, Rillaboom with Choice Band, Choice Specs, Primarina, anything choiced out of those three is just absolutely a monster to deal with, and I'm very much not looking forward to it. Looking at his team, though, there are some things I think he needs to bring, and I'm going to go through the 6 I think he's going to bring. Rillaboom. Rillaboom is so good. It's got priority specifically for my Mega Alakazam. I think that comes this week. It's one of his best options to be able to just switch in and possibly OHKO my Mega Alakazam, depending on if he's like an Adamant Life Orb set or a Choice Band set. He can definitely do that. So I think that's why the Rillaboom comes this week. I think Victini comes this week, potentially as like a Scarf set. I could also see it as like a Life Orb set. I'm kind of torn as to whether I see it being brought physically or specially. I think physically, especially if he's Scarf, makes a lot more sense. However, I do think that Victini is going to come regardless. Skuntank, I think, makes it. Again, thinking of like the Mega Alakazam and potentially the Weavile, it makes a really good wall and a good defogger. It can do things like Will-O-Wisp as well to hurt, my Weavile or some of my other physical threats that may not want to take a hit. That is pretty much it for Skuntank. Oh, it's the Dark type too, so it handles my Psych Attack moves from Mega Alakazam really well, and it handles the Mon on the screen here pretty decently as well. So I do think Skuntank comes. I think Cobalion is going to come, as well as more of like a defensive rocker type set. I could also see it coming with like a Swords Dance, like Rock Swords Dance, Close Combat, and Stone Edge for the Zapdos. Potentially see that coming. Primarina is extremely scary. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't come. It does hit my team pretty hard. I would expect it to come as like a Calm Mind set, like potentially sub Calm Mind, with its dual stab of Water and Fairy really doing a number to my team. I think that Primarina comes like in what regard I don't know. Choice Specs would be very scary, but I actually feel like we play around Choice Specs a little bit better. That's why I'm scared for like a sub Calm Mindset, because we have to like worry about it getting like +1 on attack and then having to break subs at the same time. And then the last Mon, I'm really not sure. I could see the Cryogonal coming. I could see the Xatu coming. Realistically, I could see pretty much anything coming, but what I'm going to put in this last slot is the Palossand, actually. It helps shut down my Zapdos from Volt switching all over the town and forces me to run U-turn. It does. If he doesn't want to bring rocks on Cobalion, this is another potential option if he wants his Cobalion to be more of like a physical setup or special setup, I guess, if it wants to run the Calm Mind. He's got a lot of really great setup sets, so that's just one thing that we need to keep in mind as we go through our prep. So those are the 6 I think that he's going to be bringing. So yeah, we can go ahead and start talking about the team that we're going to be bringing, starting off with a season debut for Honeycrisp, the Appleton, holding the leftover Stick Fat ability, Recover, Leech Seed, Apple Acid, and Draco Meteor. Very excited to bring Appleton this week. I absolutely adore this Pokemon, both design with what it does. It's absolutely fantastic. So what we're looking at this week with our EV spread, 248 in HP, 32 in defense, 172 special attack, 56 in special defense with the bold nature. This is an amazing answer to pretty much 90% of his team. The only things it really doesn't want to switch into are a Primarina that is not choice locked into a water type move or not a fairy type move, essentially, and the Skuntank and the Xatu. Like, those are like the three things that it does not want to handle at all. Cryogonal, it does okay with, even though it is hitting us super effectively. We actually take it pretty well, but that's what we've set up this EV spread for, is to be able to take a lot of the hits. And then we have Recover, Leftovers, and Leech Seed, and we're meant to just sit here and be super, super annoying. Apple Acid is a fantastic move where it's going to 100% drop their special defense every single time they get hit, which means that we can potentially be spamming Draco Meteors more and more. Yeah, and that's what we're going for Appleton this week. Very excited to bring Appleton, first part of our like super chonky wall core that hopefully is going to hold the rest of the team at bay so that we can do some cool things. Next up, we're bringing King Henry again this week, holding the Leftovers, Torrent ability, Defog, Toxic, Scald, and Ice Beam. 248 in HP, 112 in special attack, 136 defense, 12 speed with the Calm Nature. This is our Primarina answer, 100%. The only problem we have is if it is that Calm Mindset with sub. And if he gets the sub up as we're switching in, then that's a problem. However, other than that, we take hits for days from the Primarina. We're gonna, that's what the Toxic is there for, and that's what the 12 in speed is there for. I'm assuming if he is running like a subset, then he's gonna be running no speed and probably maxing out his HP and either his attack or his special attack or his defense. Potentially. I mean, you never know, but that's why the 12 speed is there, because we do speed tide otherwise, and if he does try to drop like his last 4 or 8 EVs into speed, we're gonna be out speeding there, so that way we can get the Toxic off before a sub comes up potentially. And that's pretty much what King Henry's here to do. Like I said, we have the Defog as well. It's our Defogger for the week. Scald and Ice Beam hit across his team fairly free. Victini's doing a lot of damage to us. Rillaboom's doing a lot of damage to us. Raiko's doing a lot of damage to us, but we can at least take one hit from each of those mons and fire off Scalds and Ice Beams to get some damage off if we really, really need to get some chip on those mons. Next up, we have Edison, the Zapdos. This week, we're bringing a Life Orb set, going more offensive with our Zapdos this week. Volt Switch, Roost, Thunderbolt, and Hurricane. 216 in speed, 252 special attack, 40 in HP with the Timid Nature. Zapdos has a really great matchup this week, all in all, and offensively, it does quite a bit of work. The only thing that like really could potentially stop us is maybe the Palossand, but other than that, that combination of Thunderbolt and Hurricane just runs through his team. That's the reason why we're bringing the Life Orb with the Roost. Take a little damage from the Life Orb, Roost to heal back up. Can potentially take a couple hits as well. This is still a fantastic switch into Rillaboom with the Grassy Glides, or if he's going for U-turns, the Static is there to potentially, you know, if the Victini's trying to do some damage, or the Rillaboom, or Physical Raikou, then we can absolutely still switch this in, get the Static off, and then threaten back with some damage, or Roost off the damage if we need to. So very excited for the Edison set we're bringing this week. Next up, we're bringing Dumbledore, the Mega Alakazam, holding the Alakazite with Magic Guard before we Mega Evolve. Substitute, Calm Mind, Shock, Psyshock, and Shadow Ball. 252 Modest, 152 in HP, and 104 in Speed. This is a very interesting bring. I actually feel like Mega Alakazam doesn't really have the best of matchups this week. However, it still is such a huge threat, especially if we can start getting set up, and the ability to trace some of the abilities on his team might be really good. Specifically, I'm looking at like if he does bring like the Druddigon, the Druddigon could potentially have like a Mold Breaker or a Sheer Force, which would be absolutely broken, but that's okay with me. The one mon that really does shut us down is that Skuntank, which I think he has to bring it. I could be running Focus Blast over Substitute or Calm Mind. I felt like I needed both though. Substitute specifically if he's trying to go for the priority with the Rillaboom, or has like a Scarf on the Victini and he's trying to go for a V-Create. And then the Calm Mind, I feel like I need the Calm Mind just to get that little extra damage. It looks like as I'm going through the calcs, Psyshock and Shadow Ball are going to do a lot of damage, but just not quite enough without that +1. We're looking to do, anywhere in 70 to 80% range. So if we have a lot of chip, we won't need the Calm Mind. However, I could potentially see us really needing that later down the road. So that is our Dumbledore set this week. Next up, we're bringing Applejack, the Mudsdale, holding the leftover stamina ability, Stealth Rock, Roar, Earthquake, Rock Slide, 248 in HP, 180 in defense, and 80 in special defense with the impish nature. This is a pretty basic Mudsdale set. Stealth Rocks are there, Roar is there for stuff that wants to set up. Specifically, I was having the hardest time. I was going back and forth between putting Roar on Empoleon and Roar on Mudsdale. One of them has Roar, one of them has Toxic. In the end, I decided I put it on Applejack because I think that the Raikou, if it comes, is more likely to be running a set that could potentially be a problem. But now that I'm kind of looking at this team, I may want to switch this because the switch in here is going to be probably the Primarina, and it might be better to get the Toxic off on the Primarina beforehand. But then that's a tough choice. I may make that change before the battle, but as of right now, this is what we're going to go with. But anyway, the Earthquake hits his team super well, and then the things that Earthquake doesn't hit, the Rock Slide is going to do pretty good damage on as well. Rillaboom and the Primarina, very, very scary here. But with this spread, we are able to live up to a +2 Raikou Scald. So if it does come Calm Mind, we live it. And aside from that, the Cryogonal does a bit of damage, but we're also not too worried about it because we can hit back with the Rock Slide. This is an okay Victini response. It can take a couple hits for sure, especially after the stamina boost, and we can hit back with an Earthquake, and we can Oko. So this is another potential switch into a Victini. The last Pokemon we're bringing is Zuko, the Infernape, coming back for a second appearance. Choice Scarf with Blaze, U-Turn, Flare Blitz, Earthquake, Gunk Shot, 64 HP, 252 in attack, 192 in speed with a Jolly nature. This is going to be just the way that we start to chip things away. That U-Turn and Flare Blitz combo is going to be doing quite a bit of damage to his team. Earthquake is there as extra coverage for like the Skuntank or the Cobalion if we're not wanting to click or even the Victini if we're not wanting to click the Flare Blitz, or there's like grassy terrain up. And then the Gunk Shot there is obviously for the Primarina, which after a little chip does Oko. So if we can get some chip on that Primarina, this thing can come in, hit Gunk Shot, and just completely annihilate it. So Zuko is here to kind of pivot, spin around, use that Scarf, be fast, do some damage, and that is our team for the week. I just got a notification that we are ready to battle. That is A-okay with me. I am good to go. So I'm going to go ahead, let Pez know that I am good to go, and we will see you right there for the battle. Okay, we're here with the battle. You'll see I actually got my screen correct this time. Sorry about that last week, but we see a couple things that we like half expected, but not a couple of the mons that we were expecting. So if we take a look, we see the Rillaboom, we see the Skuntank, we see the Victini, we see the Cobalion. We don't see the Cobalion. Instead, we see the Cryogonal, and then we do see the Raikou. And that works for me. Okay. Leads on our part. We could potentially lead with... I see him potentially leading with like a Rillaboom or a Raikou. Maybe even the Victini. I think that Zuko might actually be our best option here, because then we can see what he's going to be doing. The Raikou would be a little bit scary, and we would need to swap out. But that's pretty much it. So I do think that Zuko's our lead here. We do see the Raikou lead, which is okay. And then we are going to go directly into... because he could Volt Switch here. He could go for the Scald. I think that Appleton's probably our best bet here. That does let him get into something for free, though, if he does go for the Volt Switch. Okay, so we see the Protect. Doesn't have Life Orb. What's his switch in here? That was a pretty good play on our part. I'm pretty happy about that. I think we just click Leech Seed. Okay, so we get the Toxic, and that's annoying, and we missed the Leech Seed. So he's a bulkier set. That's very interesting. I'm going to go ahead and click Draco Meteor as he goes into the Cryogonal. And we missed that too. Oh my goodness. Sag. Oh my gosh. I can't believe we're missing everything so fast. We're going to go into... What does he do here? I'm going to go back into Infernape. And then I'm going to... let's think about this. So we know he has Protect and Toxic, and that's kind of annoying. We're going to click U-Turn and see how much damage this does to it. He knows I'm Scarf now as well. So if we look at how much damage that did to the Raikou from my Infernape, U-Turn did 28%, which shows me that he's actually not invested. Double check. Yep, definitely not invested. So he doesn't have a full set of moves. So what does he have then? I think I have to go Appleton again, right? Does go for the Scald this time. That's okay. We see the leftovers. Kind of figured at this point. I think we try going for the Leech Seed again. And then we're going to go for it one more time. Okay. We are getting thoroughly outplayed at the moment. That's okay, though. He probably goes for a knockoff here if I had to guess. And we're just going to click Recover. But we are going to take some extra damage here. And then we go into a Zapdos. Okay, so that was a pretty decent play. We're not allowed to roost anymore. Thunderbolts are pretty free. Gives Raikou this initiative, though. But we're just going to Volt Switch out of here, I believe. So Knockoff and Taunt. We see the Cryogonal come out. We do 30%. Okay, let's see how much that did. So I am running Volt Switch. I originally had U-Turn, but I'm glad I switched to Volt Switch. And that did how much? 30? Yeah, he's definitely got a lot of bulk on him, so probably bulk and speed, if I had to guess. And this gives us a chance to Mega Evolve and get a substitute off. And we get a little bit of grassy terrain as well. And then we click Shadow Ball, try to get some chip on this thing, get the SDF drop, which is nice. And then our switch in here is going to be Zuko. And that works for me. King Henry would have been the best switch in for sure. But how much is this going to do? So let's take a look at Skuntank with the Mega Alakazam. So he's physical as well. So that's something to point out. Interesting. So let's see the damage here. So he is probably got a lot of bulk on him. Yeah, Oh my goodness. That is so much bulk. He's Assault Vest max special defense. So if we look at Infernape, we're going to click U-turn. And then go into Zapdos. And then I think we click Thunderbolt, right? And then Volt Switch. So it's a good thing we're chipping down the Raikou. That's pretty important. See it go for Protect. Probably should have gone for Roost there, but we couldn't risk it, that's for sure. Oh, he's faster? What the heck? Oh, he's probably meant to outspeed that. Dang it. Okay. That's okay. We can get it back in against something else. And we are going to go into Applejack, and we're going to get Rocks up. Because we live a Scald. Super easy. Super easy. Get the defense boost. Get up our Stealth Rocks. And then we go into Honeycrisp. This is going to be a rough one. Those misses at the beginning were such a problem. Okay, so we see the Cryogonal come in. We know it's Boots now. Gets the SDF drop. We take a little bit of poison. And then we go into King Henry. He goes for the Rapid Spin. That's okay with me. And then we click Toxic of our own. So Rapid Spin, Recover, Boots. Probably Ice Beam as well. But we are getting chipped down way too much right now. And I know this thing can't do anything to me. So we go for the Toxic again against the Raikou coming in. That's extremely helpful. That lets us into Protect, Toxic, Scald, Thunderbolt. So I've been switching into Honeycrisp, and if I do that, then that gets him into something for free. But I don't want to stay in versus this thing. I think I've just got to. This battle is looking extremely bad for me right now. Okay, that's okay. That's actually really okay. I don't mind that at all. Because now we can just go for a Recover. Wait, he's going to be faster than me though, and U-turn is going to do a ton of damage. Let's see how much that knockoff did actually. So if he's Rillaboom versus my Appleton, knockoff did Rillaboom did 31%, so he's not a Banded set and he's not a Life Orb set. But he is Adamant, which means a U-turn does not knock me off. Recover. Or does not knock me off, knock me out. So he's Adamant, Scarf, maybe? Maybe Leftovers? I think our switch in here is actually going to be, yes, okay, great. Infernape is our switch in, and I am very happy about that. And then we're going to click Gunk Shot. Yes, okay, perfect. Does so much damage. Okay, and he has leftovers. We're going to click Gunk Shot again and take out the Primarina. Yes, okay. Whew. Zuko with the kill. Here comes the Victini. And our Victini switch in is pretty non-existent at this point, so we're just going to go into Applejack. I think that's going to be our best. He is special. Interesting. Okay. So then we're going to go into Empoleon for sure then. And if he goes Thunderbolt, that's totally fine with me. Because we click... Do we click Scald? Ice Beam? I'm going to click Ice Beam. Okay, that is okay with me. That is so okay with me. Oh, I can't believe we hit 2 Gunk Shots and got rid of the Primarina. Okay, I'm going to actually go into... So we saw the Psychic and then the switch out. My guess, let's check some damage on that. So if Victini mixed attacker up against my, what do you call it, Empoleon, and you have Psychic, that's going to do 15%. So you did 15%, which means you are definitely at least timid. Yeah, so he either got a max roll on timid or he is modest. And if that's the case, then he's definitely scarfed. But we're going to go into Appleton this time. Okay, that's okay. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. And then we click recover. Draco Meteors are completely free at this point. I'm just going to call out as well. What's more important, recover? Nope, Draco Meteor. We're going for the Draco this time. If he stays in, he loses his Raikou. That's okay with me. So Appleton gets the kill. Appleton's not going to be around much longer, though. And that's all right. You did what you needed to do, buddy. You did what you needed to do. And here comes the Victini. Okay. Interesting. So we know he's scarfed. How much is a Thunderbolt doing to me? Versus... Oh, yep, we're already in there. Thunderbolt's not even doing half. So Empoleon's the switch in for sure. And then we click Toxic. Oh my goodness, so I'm not going to lie, that Infernape brought this back for us. I think that Gunk Shot play was just... It put us back in the game. 100% put us back in the game. So very excited about that. So let's see what the Victini decides to go for. If he does end up switching into the Rillaboom and we get the Toxic off, that'll be great. We also know that he's Adamant not banned, so that means we can live a good number of hits. And I don't think we need to worry about defogging anything anymore, so King Henry's going to do quite well. But we are going to click Toxic here. Victini, let's see how much like a Blue Flare is doing. So we... Blue Flare. Blue Flare's doing about half. Leftovers plus Grassy Terrain means that I live at least a couple of these, and he does not want to stay in on a Scald. But he doesn't know what I have at this point. If he does go into the Scun Tank right now, that'd be a pretty decent play, but my guess is he probably can't touch me. And the Cryogonal as well probably can't touch me. So King Henry is going to hold down the fort right now, I believe. If I had to guess right now, you are Choice Scarf with the Timid Nature. So we get the burn and we miss the Toxic. That's a bit of a bummer. That is a bit of a bummer. So I'm going to click Scald this time just to get the damage off. And we take out the Victini because of the Torrent. And that's a good move, right? Okay, cool. Right now, Zuko is looking amazing, like absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, because if I would have, that worked out okay, because we got the torrent boost, which was very helpful. But King Henry getting the kill as well. Very proud of you. So let's take a look at what we've got left. Mudsdale, not a lot. Dumbledore, not a lot. So we are very, very low across the board. And he's got 3 very full mons, so this could get very interesting. We see the Rillaboom come out, and this is where we decide what we keep around. And I think we still need Applejack. And I think we still can try to hold on to Edison. If he goes for a U-turn here, then we can. But I think Henry, I think you got to go now. I'm sorry, bud. He goes for the knockoff. And that's okay with me. And then we go into Zuko. And we can just click Flare Blitz a bunch of times and maybe win. Maybe. If he has Grassy Glide, I don't think it's doing that much to me. If he's like a Sword Stance set with Grassy Glide against my... what are you called? Infernape. Yeah, Grassy Glide's doing like half if he was Life Orb. So we see the Flare Blitz. We're going to take a good chunk of damage. Infernape gets another kill. Skuntank comes out. And we know that you're like max 252. So Flare Blitz, we don't want to do anything about yet. So we're going to actually go into Applejack here. We're not quite to the range that we need to be. Okay, and we should live another one of those. And that's going to be his strongest move for sure. So we're going to click Earthquake as he goes into the Rillaboom. That was a good move. Going to take a little bit of damage. Probably going to see... No leftovers? No leftovers. I'm very curious as to what move he's running then. Okay. Well, I'm actually going to go into Zapdos here, hoping he goes for a Grassy Glide. Yep. Do we get the static? Nope, no static. This is actually extremely tough. Rillaboom might just bring it home here. Because that Grassy Glide's going to take me out. Yep, I think Rillaboom just wins it. Oh, okay. That's okay with me, I think. Okay, that's fine. Zuko goes down. We go into Dumbledore. Actually, no, we go into Applejack because he's only got 1 turn left of Grassy Glide. And then we click Rock Slide. And now we can't Grassy Glide. Oh shit, I messed that up. I totally messed that up. Oh, I totally messed that up. GG's. Gosh dang it. Okay, well, the play there was 100% to. Well, I think we lost either way because we went in on the interesting. Okay. Well, we could have maybe played that end a little bit different. We brought it back. It was looking like it was going to be a really, really tough battle. But in the end, we do take the 1-0 loss, which is very unfortunate. I'm happy with how we played back. It looked pretty rough there for a second. But he was very smart to keep that Rillaboom around with the priority so that yeah, Trace worked against us there, that's for sure. But anyway, GG's Pez, great game, and we will see you all next week for next week's battle, where hopefully we can finally start picking up some wins again. Have a good one. We'll talk to you later.